We shall jump right in. Welcome, everyone. Yes, this is our design team learning session. It happens every Friday. So I think it is like the second one. So I think last Friday I promised everyone that I would be, taking them through a very important topic in the design area, especially in the UX design sort of like area or field. And it's always underlooked. People do things without really getting to know what they are doing, which is really sometimes frustrating for you to do something that you do not really understand, and to come up with things that you don't really understand how they are, how they come about and why they come about and how they are that way and how specific people perceive them in order to create a very harmonious way of communicating, because design is about communicating at its core, especially once it comes to things that have to do with user interface design and other things like graphic design and any other design that doesn't involve producing physical products. So it's all about effective communication to the intended audience. So it's about playing around that. Yes, I was saying that sometimes you'll find out that our users are always having these flat devices that they always use to access information. So as they're accessing this information, you have to keep it at the back of your mind that they are sort of like consuming a specific sort of like piece of information. So you have to understand it that you have to communicate effectively in order to enable these users to perceive this information in a harmonious way. Because if at all you communicate effectively, then the user will take the intended action, which is what we want. So at its core, I think that is it. You'll find out that we just have to communicate effectively, and if at all we communicate effectively, then the users will get what we want them to get. So that brings us to today's topic, which is discoverability. Yes, discoverability is about finding things. If at all you are very new to a given place, or maybe home address, or maybe anywhere, you have to discover things while there. And if I told you in that area and it's new to you, and there are no ways of you finding specific things in that area, then you'll find it hard living in that area. I'm quite sure. But if at all there are things that enable you to figure out how to access specific services in that area, like the restaurants, medical, and all of that, you will live comfortably. So, it's the same scenario. And we as designers, I always preach this, we have to always relate what happens to us as individuals in the real world to the way how we design. Because design, to me, it's a process of making sure that you solve a specific problem, and through that process you do have to do a lot of things, and reflecting on your past experiences and what you've gone through is one of them. So it can really give you a very good way of coming about certain problems and figuring out how to execute your work and stay creative. Yes. So today I'm going to take you through why or what can someone always look out for while designing a website, because That is the question that most individuals always ask themselves is, how can I always figure out how to make my users get to use this website. And it's through design that users actually start getting used to these different features that we build. Even if you're designing a graphic design, it's through understanding specific things that will enable you to communicate effectively at the end. I wanted to first of all share this so that you guys can follow along while I'm presenting. Yes, today's presentation is like on a Figma file. I didn't really find any use for creating a PowerPoint because PowerPoints are not that interactive. You don't, they don't give you the flexibility to create these simple diagrams here. So you will find out that we shall be answering this question in today's presentation, and as we discuss. And to me, this is the most important question. And sometimes while we are designing, we just jump into things. If I told someone tells you to design something, we just jump into it without getting to understand what are the forces behind what you are doing that can enable you to come up with something that will really work. So that is why we're here, and today that is what we shall be going through. Now, discoverability is about finding things, and the only way we can find things is providing, first of all, proper navigation, which to me is by far the most important or crucial sort of like design principle. To me now, navigation is like a design principle. Although it's a combination of a variety of design principles, I want to take you through these like real quick, because these are like this is like the core of design. Every design has this, and even if you're designing for even if you're designing for a ship, or maybe even if you're designing an interface for a plane, or maybe for a bus, you'll have to go down and look at this principle. So to me, these are like the building blocks. They are like the 10 commandments we have to always refer to while designing. If at all you ever find yourself in any design issue, or maybe while you have maybe a design issue, or maybe design decision you have to make, it's really frustrating you, and you can't figure it out, you should always dig deep into these principles plus the elements, because that's where the answers lie that can solve quite a lot of problems. So I'll be taking you through those, and we shall be discussing a little bit here and there. Now I want to actually start my presentation as just giving you a brief overview of what I'm going to be taking you through. So I want to start off by letting you know that discoverability, just as I've told you, it's just about finding things easily, because as we are designing new things, our intention is to make sure that these users, first of all, find these things. Because if at all you find something, then you can access other things after finding that specific thing. So it's through discoverability that a user or any person, or maybe someone that you intending to communicate to, for them to perceive that something, maybe it could be a color, or maybe text, or maybe a form, or maybe a piece of graphic that it's communicating something. It has to first of all be discovered. They have to see it, because if at all they don't see it, or if at all you confuse them somehow, and instead of maybe putting a bold sort of like text, you put something that is maybe regular or maybe medium, then it's not discoverable. People will actually ignore it because they cannot discover it. So discoverability is self-explanatory. It's about finding things, and in order for these individuals to find these things, they have to first of all and go through this process of figuring out what are these things that they are used to seeing. Because if at all someone is used to something, then they can easily figure out how they to approach it. For example, let me just give a very good example of toilets. Toilets in a building, they're always at the extreme end of buildings. Yes, it's in rare cases where you find a building with a toilet that is maybe in the middle of a building, or maybe at the entrance, or maybe anywhere that is not at the edge. So that's like a conversion of placing something somewhere. Now, on the web, we do have such conversions. Like, for example, buses should always have those handles, and people always know where to find them. If you enter a bus, first thing is to hold yourself up there. So those handles are supposed to be there, because people do not actually know it that the handles have to be there, but it's just something that they are used to. When they enter a bus, they have to touch there. So it's something that they are used to. So conversions, it's something that people usually do, and they are used to doing it. So there are quite so many examples, and we can always add on to this. But the main point about web conversions is these are things that people are used to. If at all you're used to using the web in a specific way, then if at all you visit another website, then you have to have a step-by-step process of how to use this website, because you do have prior knowledge of how to use that specific website, away from you even getting to understand what is really on that website. So you will find out that users come from an environment where they have these mental models already built within their brain, and they expect to see these things once they come on specific websites. So if at all you're creating a new website, first of all, ask yourself, what are these users used to seeing? What are they used to interacting with? What have they interacted with before starting to build? Because 99% of the time we are creating things that are already in existence, unless you're going to create something entirely new. But if at all it's for the web, then they are what they call standards that have already been put in place that you have to follow. And on top of that, you can put some sprinkles, which are the aesthetics that can help this user to enjoy the usage of this website. But at the core, you'll find out that there are 7 conversions. You can actually add on to this list and come up with others as you dig deep into the work that you're doing. So first and foremost, you'll find out that web conversions only have a few uses which actually expand into other areas. So at the core, they have about 3 to 4 uses, and first of all, they provide a roadmap. This is what I was talking about. You landing into a new area that you have to make your home. If at all that area does not have proper signposts of this is a restaurant, of this is where maybe you can get petrol from, this is where you can shop from, this is where you can do your laundry from. So if at all there aren't those signs in that area, then you will get lost, you will get frustrated. So it's the same thing. Once users land on your site, they have things they expect to see, because they are not coming from the bush. That is what I'm trying to say. They already have a memory, and we operate by our memories. That is something we should get to understand. There is nothing new to people. Even if you come up with a very nice, poster that has these 3D effects, and it's really nice. People have seen all of that. Why am I saying that? They have already seen that. I'm not saying that they have seen the way how you've designed it already and the way it looks. No, they haven't seen that. What they have seen are so many posters, and it's not the first poster, so they already know how a poster should look like. Now, getting back to the web has rules, and I'm going to take you through those 7 rules. And on top of that, you can break the rules and you can play around with the rules because they're actually not rules. Now, moving on, the first rule is logo placement. We all know that logos are always on the left of the website. I know there are some websites that put their logos in the middle or whatever. It has to be at the top. But if at all you ever get confused and you don't know where to place the logo on a website, place it at the top left part of the nav bar of that specific website. Now, I'm going to actually use 3 examples. I'm going to give you 3 websites that I think have actually really come up with a very good way of presenting these 7 conversions, and you'll find out that that way we shall actually get to understand how specific things are done on general, and how these websites have managed to build their brands and their products off of these 7 conversions. Now, my first website is going to be Pinterest. Then I'll take you through the Apple website, then Google's products, because I believe those 3 companies have really been built off of really understanding what the web standards are, and developing them, and coming up with these examples that we can always rely on. Now, you'll find out that all of these websites actually have their logo right here on this left side of the website. So it's a conversion, and it doesn't matter, if at all, even if you're building a website for a nuclear power plant, even if you're building any type of website, please place your logo up there, because it will easily be seen, and it's like it's sort of like a sign of any sort of like outlet. Before you enter any outlet, there's always like a sign that gives a name to that outlet. So it's the same sort of like principle right here. So they just borrow these conversions from daily life. You have to introduce your business. So this is how you introduce a business to a client, which is a visitor of this website. So it is always at the top. Apple does the same thing at the top, so it's always there. Google does the same thing. Its logo, it's always at the top. It's always at the top for all its products. Its logo is always at the top. Now, it doesn't really matter. You can put your logo anywhere, but always remember that the conversions always ask for that logo to be at the top. Now, I'll move on to the next point, which is the main navigation. Main navigation is the navigation that feeds the users into your website. Now, that navigation also has to be really clear. They have to see it, because if at all you enter a supermarket and you can't see where these different sections are, the winery, the shop for the kids items, the bakery. If at all these signs weren't there, immediately as you enter the supermarket, then you will get lost. Trust me, you will find yourself the other side where the furniture is, yet you came to buy bread. Now, that's the same principle on the web. Now, once you land onto any website that appreciates these conversions and has used these elements and principles of design clearly, you'll find out that once you land on their website, the first thing you will see is this main navigation right here that tells you all about